Welcome to episode 1 of Book Scraps, where we chat about books while we make our monthly scrapbook page. Hi, I'm Lace, I love to read, and I also have a lot of other hobbies. So we're going to kind of dip our toes into one by starting a new series called Book Scraps, where I will have myself scrapbooking. I'm gonna start doing a monthly scrapbook page to help me get myself out of this perfectionism that I kind of bring into everything in my life and just have fun, layer things, and make a scrapbook page. And then I'm gonna voice over talking about books. So today's episode, we are making this really cute August spread. It's like the start of a memory one. So next month, I will fill it all in with pictures and memories, and then we will do September's. We're gonna talk about balancing our physical TBR, prioritizing reading when you're working, and just any books that I've read lately that I'd love to talk to you about. So let's get into it. Welcome to the first episode of Book Scraps. I really wanted a place to talk about books, but in a less structured way. And so I figured I can post more of my scrapbooking content by having a voiceover talking about books during the same time. So here we are, episode 1. We're going to be focusing on prioritizing reading, having an endless TBR, and current reads. So let's get into it. Honestly, I've been having a really hard time prioritizing reading. My work hours have changed, which means I feel extremely discombobulated at all times. And I cannot get through a book. It took me almost 2 weeks to get through a book, which would have taken me maybe 3 days when I was doing well in July. I just haven't been feeling really excited about books, and I know it has to do with all these changes in my schedule, but it really sucks when you're so excited and you have all these great books, and then just something changes and you no longer want to read anything. So I'm kind of compiling a list of all these little tips that I think have been helping me a little bit. I finally did finish a book last night, and so I wanted to share them with you because maybe they'll help you, or maybe you have better tips and you'd like to leave those in the comments, and I would love that. But tip number 1 is I've been setting timers and having like reading sprints, and I've been doing that so that I can at least try to read consistently for a short period of time to see if that helps me get into a book, because it's always really hard starting a new book. And I think that's been helping. And then the next tip I have is planning it out. And so I have been writing in my planner, like read, 50 pages of this book, or try to do that just because it's something I can check off, which helps motivate me. And then my last tip would just be to find a book you're really excited for. I was kind of in a rut because the book I was reading was for book club, so I needed to finish it. And so now that I've finished that book, I'm going to look through my TBR and just see what jumps out to me the most and what would make me the most excited. And that's what I'm going to pick. But if you are in that space of having a hard time prioritizing reading and just being in kind of a slump, I'm with you. I hear you. And we're going to get through it, but it's just a rough time. And another thing that is kind of causing a part of my reading slump is that I just have way too many books. I have way too many books on my physical TBR. I have about 45, I believe. And I know for some that might feel like a small amount, but when I first started reading again, I would go to Barnes & Noble, I'd be there for like an hour, and I would sit and read the backs of books and really curate like a group of 5 books that I was really genuinely so excited about. And then I would read all of them and then go back. And then it'd be this really exciting cycle of spending all this time picking out books I was really interested in and reading them, going back and getting to go buy more books, which is always fun. And now I feel like I just buy books randomly and I'm not even that excited about them. Or I'm really excited about them, but then I just kind of let them sit for such a long time because I have so many other books to read. So I really, really, really want to get down my physical TBR and just get back to my old ways of finishing 5 books, going to the store, buying 5 more, actually like really reading the back, thinking about what I want to read, going off suggestions of all these comments that I've gotten that were so amazing, and like my friends and other people I like to follow, and making it more fun because I just have way too many. It's really overwhelming. And when I feel overwhelmed, I don't act on things. I honestly just kind of get stagnant and just disassociate, which is not fun. So I really need to get that down. And I'm starting a new series that I finally am going to have an episode going up of called This Is Me TBRing. And I'm going to try really hard to dwindle that list of my physical TBR down way more than what it is now, because it's just way too overwhelming for me to want to pick up any of those books. But let me know how you figure out your TBR, because some people love having a really extensive TBR. And I know mine might seem like chump change to some people, but for me, it's just way too many. I'm in an apartment. I don't have the space to have all these books that I haven't even read yet. And I really think it takes away the motivation of reading them because there's just too many options. So you get like that decision fatigue, and that's where I feel like I'm at right now. And I don't like to be in that spot. So I'm going to have to focus on prioritizing reading and using all those tips to get through this physical TBR, because I do want to get it down and I do want to be on a much better path with my reading and getting that. I just want to get back to my roots, which is reading all the books pretty quickly that I bought and then going to get more. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is my current reads. And I've read 3 books recently. So the first one was for my book club. We read Story of My Life by Lucy Score. It was cute. It just was far too long. And I felt like not enough was happening for it to be justified that long. But I do think it was very cute. And it was an easy thing to talk about in our book club. And that was fun. But it just hasn't been my favorite read that I've read recently. But I did read 2 really good books. I read The Butcher, and that's a thriller, and it was really, really good. Honestly, I really enjoyed it. It inspired me to make a video about serial killer thrillers, which is going to come up really soon as a video, and I'm really excited about that. And then I also read Frozen River, which is a historical fiction about a midwife, which was really good as well and had a mystery element to it. So although the most recent book I read wasn't the best, I've actually been reading some really good books, and I just have to keep that flow going of reading these really good books. But one thing I really liked about the historical fiction I read is that in the author's note at the very end, she talked a lot about her inspiration for the book and who it's about. And it's actually about a real midwife who had these diaries, and she took a lot of inspiration from that, but also took her spin on some things and moved the timelines around. And it's the first time I've ever read an author's note, which makes me laugh, but it was really interesting to read her inspiration behind it and how she went about researching and deciding where the story was going to go. But overall, I really liked it, and it made me love the book even more, knowing kind of like the history behind it. So I think the next book I'm going to pick up is probably historical fiction, but I like to read a few books at a time with different genres just to make sure that I keep reading, and if I'm not in the mood for one specific genre, then I have options from different genres. So I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to read, but I think I'm going to read The Women, and then I also think I'm going to read Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, because summer's almost over, so I really need to get to that book. But I'd love to hear what you're reading and what you've been excited to start reading, because that will definitely inspire me. But I'm really excited to keep this book scrap series going, and it's just fun to talk about books freely and put all my thoughts into a video that's not just me talking to a camera. So I thought it would be fun, and I hope you're enjoying it. But I'd love to hear topics that you'd like to talk about in future book scraps videos, and I am really willing to talk about anything books, so just let me know. And I'm really excited to utilize my little tips and hear from you so I can get out of this reading slump and hopefully have a lot of books to talk about at the end of August. And I was pretty excited how this page turned out, because usually I'm so focused on everything being perfect, and I felt like I just kind of did it, which was really fun. So here's how it turned out, and I'm excited to add the pictures to it. Thank you so much for coming to my channel and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of Book Scraps, and leave any suggestions of what you'd like to talk about in the future episodes in the comments below. And I can't wait to see you in the next one, and I hope what you're reading and crafting is bringing you joy.